Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. So talking about culture and how powerful it is, how does it drive performance in your program?
Well, I think that a culture is always going to drive performance to a certain extent. And, I hope our culture starts from the top down. And I want to show every one of our kids that, I'm the hardest working guy they know. So that when I'm asking them to put in all of this extra time and effort and, everything that we're asking them to sacrifice to be a part of our program, that they see me and my staff sacrificing the exact same thing. And I think when you are able to create a culture of commitment and work ethic and loyalty to one another, stuff like that, that I think you're leading by example. And so therefore, they're going to see that. Another thing that, very rarely I'm not ever going to undermine anything that my coaches are saying throughout the course of a practice, because I want our kids to see us all on the same page. So if I ever, there's a million different ways to do things the right way, that. Yeah. And so, just take the way we're guarding the post. If I had a coach that was out there, maybe teaching it a way that was a little bit different than how I wanted to teach it, we would either handle it in the office, after practice and make sure that we were all on the same page. Or if I felt like I needed to stop it right then, it would be just stopping it, complimenting the coach at, hey, that's a great way to do it, but let's look at it this way. So there are certain things, whether it's work ethic, whether it's, us all being on the same page and being committed to the same goals, whatever. I just think that culture and what they see from the coaching staff and their culture is extremely important.
I can imagine just from what you said that at your practices, your voice isn't the only one being that you hear out there, that you've created an environment where your assistant coaches feel comfortable, they're confident in teaching. And I love the fact that, like you said, if there is something different, it's either going to be addressed before or it's going to be addressed together after, but never in front. With your staff, how much are you meeting with them, daily or throughout the season? Because from a public school to a private school, the amount of time that you get with your staff might be different. So what's yours look like?
Well, I will tell you this, is that I've got a group of men that are completely committed to the profession and completely committed to our success. So we put in a ton of hours, and it's not always something that every staff can do. A lot of staffs share a lot of coaches who may be football first, basketball second, or, may have another love or, family commitments and stuff like that. And we try to honor that family time as much as we possibly can. But we also like spending time together. And, so we're constantly meeting and talking. Another area that's kind of, I think that I have gotten better in over the years is using technology to do those sort of things as much as we possibly can. We put our practices, every single practice we have, on a Google Drive, and we've got that uploaded the morning before our practice. My coaches that, are on the defensive side of the ball or offensive side of the ball, they have input in that practice schedule. And I feel like that input and them really feeling that they can get out there and coach, man, that gives them so much more buy-in to the success of each and every practice that we have. But those Google Drives and those documents that, you can kind of use, that are kind of real-time documents. So as they're making changes or as I'm making changes, they know exactly what's going to go on in our practice before they ever step foot in our practice. So that's a form of communication as well.
Would you mind sharing one of your practices with me, just so I can see your format and how you do things?
No, I absolutely love that right now, Matt. That's one of my favorite things right now. So when I spoke for USA Basketball or, at Nike clinics and stuff like that, I am really into right now practice scheduling Matter of fact, one of the last clinics I did was best practices for best practices. And I'm about to do another one for BSN here in the next couple weeks. And it's on that same thing. I just absolutely love that. Whenever we do not have a good practice, man, I take it personally. I think it can't ever be the kids' fault. My goodness, why didn't I see that coming? I should have designed practice a little bit different because I knew where their legs were, or I knew, that we were off the day, just whatever it is. I am really, really into practice schedules right now and the organization of practice. And I just absolutely love that piece of it. I'm an open book. I don't mind sharing anything with anybody. Like I said, whether you want to call it borrowing, sharing, stealing, whatever. I mean, none of my stuff I came up with on my own. I've just have loved the game and loved growing in the profession and loved the opportunity to take just little bits and pieces of things that I've been able to witness over the years and just putting them into our program. Every clinic that we've went to, I don't sit there like I was when I was 22 years old and take down every note and everything else, but I'm constantly listening and I'm constantly saying, you know what, I like that. But in our practice, if I tweaked it this way, it would fit even better, and just those constant little adjustments that you can make to the things that you do to make your program even better.
Yeah, I think there's something you said right there that's pretty great is, obviously going in with a mindset of I can learn something from anyone that's speaking to me, but I can't use everything. And so
and if you try to use everything, then sometimes it'll be too much.
Yeah.
And then you'll find yourself constantly changing and maybe even getting away from your core values. But I've been to football practices and picked up stuff from football practices. Heck, I had an opportunity to go and speak at a clinic in Australia. I went to an Australian football practice, Australian rules football practice. And it was just great. And the tempo and everything that they practiced with and everything else. I'm out there taking down notes and how can I switch that to our gym and our basketball practices? So, you can learn from so many different areas. And then if you're looking at things as you're going through professional developments or as you're watching podcasts or as you're attending a college practice or whatever, if you're just putting it through the lens of how does this work in our program, then you can be beneficial with everything that you do.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.